A very beautiful morning to you and welcome to this very educating and then very powerful and impacting program, Good Governance Ministry. That's the program you're about to listen. My name is Tony Lisenbeki. In the studio with me this very morning, I have Chinedu Peter Asos. It's good to have you, Chinedu Peter Asos.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And the topic this morning is
People,
getting the government they want.
exactly.
Or not the one they desire.
No, of course. People get the government they demand,
And
not
not
the one they desire.
So what's the difference?
Um, the desire is that you want good governance, you want good road, you want good house, you want good education, and at the end of the day, you go home and sleep. It is what you desire. But when you demand for it, when you stand your feet on the ground and ask the government stage by stage fulfill your promises, that is time you start. And the governor of Rivers State recently, I was watching him today on AIT when he said that when the people demand for good governance, they don't have any option than to fulfill it.
All right, now the question now is, how do you measure people who actually desire good governance, and then how do you measure those who demand it? What are the differences? How do you know those countries or those people who would actually demand good governance? And then can you also give us differences in terms of countries where it's been practiced and people concerned, and what those who desire good government do, and what those who desire or demand good government, what they do?
Okay.
Just
All right.
expand it.
The disparity is just like black and white. The disparity is just like light and darkness. You see, when people have a streamlined character of demanding good governance from their government officials, there are attitudes, there are attributes that you see them explore or exhibit than those who just desire for good governance. I'll give you an example, very simple one. The difference between countries that are working, countries that are developing, countries that obey rule of law, from the country that doesn't, is as a result of these two sections of people, those that demand for good governance and those that just merely desire for good governance. In demand, a demand is a step forward, is a step ahead of just desiring. Yes, it is good to desire for good governance, but you don't just end there. You proceed to what? To demand for the good governance. For instance, every 4 years, politicians come together, they tell you what they want to do for you, they campaign, they bring their manifesto, they tell you what you even want them to. Some of them will go to the point of telling you what you want them to do for you when they get to into power. And you will not start, oh, we want good governance, so we want good education, oh, we want our children to get job after school, we want security, we want employment, and the rest. These are just desire. It is good to desire these things as humans. Now, when the government goes into power, then everybody goes home and sleep, like it is the business of nobody. Then those piloting the affairs of governance will now take it as their personal business and start doing as they like. In fact, they assume for the fact that they have been elected or selected, or they have poised themselves on the people. Now they find themselves on the position of authority. They assume that whatever they bring out, they shove it down your throat. You must take it. That is what is good for you. It doesn't work that way in a civilized country. And I must tell you, in contemporary Nigeria today, you have different sections of Nigeria with different aspirations. They have different aspirations, they have different drive, they have different approach to life, they have different philosophy. And as such, coming down to Igbo land specifically, what do we demand? We know our desire. Our people are a kind of people that want enabling environment for them to explore and add value to the system. That is the nature of our people. Our people like to explore, they like to add value, they like to, they want to be part of the system that makes things happen. Okay? Our people are the kind of people that they want you to just give them access to road. They will build estates, give them access to good business environment. They will bring up business initiatives that will create multiple employments. But when you have a system where the people continue to be taxed, exploited, even businesses suffer because of exploitation on the street, you cannot just go into the market and come out and not being dragged left, right, and center. And that is making a nightmare for businessmen in our communities, in our states, in Igbo land especially. So it is the government that should put up this enabling environment. But when you are not getting it, you only desire it. You only stay in your comfort zone, in your office, at your workplace, in your marketplace, and you just lament. You go on the social media, you abuse everybody left, right, and center. It will not change anything by just mere desire. That is why you need to demand for it. And I understand that what we are passing through today is that a whole lot of people have come up to make this demand on behalf of the people. They organize themselves in small groups, and they say they want to demand for this. They start shouting yes. And the more you try to organize the people, the more they scatter. Because the government people are using poverty and hunger to break the spirit of the society. Government people are using hunger as a tool, poverty as a tool to hold the people to ransom. That is why when you try to organize the people, you see just few individuals with their personal interest, they will just be giving some money and they will just come there and cause confusion. I have witnessed it in the past, right here in Anambra State, where somebody will tell you, I have secured contact with so person and so person. Let us just go and tell them that they are ready to bring money. They are ready to bring money. In fact, what we're saying is already hitting hard on them. Let us go and I look at them. I say, this is exactly our biggest problem. But it is not their fault. It is the fault of the people. Because when we say, come, let us do this thing together. And now about one side, if I know ask come to earlier in Nande Madu, no Naira with the government who cho, Mobu no Ekusike, say no if I no cho. When I man say, in Alone and a big, hey, I chunk come one with a call in a fasting and prayer from morning to night, year in, year out. Each of our king a good hospital, hey. Una eganu no gwa rike enwete mkpụrụ ọgwụ eje n'okporo ụzọ ụzọ adịlarị eje na ebe abegị na kponu ụla wala anya na abalawa ụla ife abụ ife niile anyị chọrọ mana ọ bụrụ onye nwa na-eweta ezi gọọmenti na-alụ ọrụ dịka obodo si chọọ na ị ga-aga n'iru ikwu okwu kwụsie enyi ike si nọ nke anụ nwa ka unu chọọ emere n'ọbụ unu apụtaba n'anya chọrọ unu na gọọmenti azụ enwere ọbụ onye ọbụ be nna ya gọọmenti ha azụ obe onye ọbụla onwere onye ọbụ be nna ya iche onwere onye ọbụ be nna ya onwere onye edela afịa nna ya onwere onye ewere afịa suo stampụ na governor seat ma na seat of any political office anywhere onwere okpuru gọọmenti ụlọ gọọmenti bụ be onye ọbụla. And I can know the biggest stakeholders, the kacha wee nwee ikike n'ihe a na-eme n'obodo bụ the people, all the mmadụ. All the people ka anyị na-achọ ka anyị chịkọọ ọnụ. Mana ife na-eme anyị bụ ka anyị na-agbakọ mgba ka anyị chịkọọ ndị mmadụ ọnụ ka anya ọbụla na-agbasa. Ọ dịka etisuru ọ dịka nwere ebe eji chụọ aja ka ndị Igbo gara inwenata ofu onu, ka ndị Igbo gara inwenata ofu obi. Ka anyị gara ị na-ekwu okwu sị na ebe a ka anyị chọọ. Ndị na-achị achị ebidozi aka na nke a wee na-anyụ tọzi obodo. Onye nke akọlụsi ebe a jewalụ, onye nke akọlụsi enwero any coherence or enwero any kind of clearing house. Ebe anyị asị na onye aka Igbo niile kpokọtara ọnụ wee kwuo nọ ebe a ka anyị chọrọ. Onye abụ ife na-esesinye anyị aka azụ, anyị na-akụchi ya bandị azụ. Abịa n'Afrịka tata, ife Igbo nwere ezugo ime ana Igbo ka ọ dịka karịa Dubai sef. Anyị nwere mmadụ ga-eme ya, anyị nwere ndị ga-eme ya, ma nwekwa ego a ga-eji wee eme ya karịa gọọmenti. onwe ndị be anyị ka ndị gọọmenti wee nwee ego n'obodo a and ndị ahụ kpatara ego a n'ụzọ ziri ezi and ndị agha na-ekwu okwu fa ọ bụrụ na achịkọ ọnụ fa nwee ntụkwasị obi na ndị na-achị obodo fa ga-eso kwanyelu gọọmenti ukwu aja ka gọọmenti wee mepụta ma idozi ụzọ ma ịlụ skuulu ọkwa anyị nwa na-eji aka anyị na-alụ katidral ebe niile onwere okpuru obodo ịbanye na ya ị gara ịfụ katidral dị iche iche katidral kwuru katidral katidral kwuru project church everywhere ọ ndị be anyị na-eme ihe onwere nke esi Rome eweta ego onwere nke esi Vatican eweta ego onwere nke esi England eweta ego onwere nke esi headquarter of any of those churches wele eweta ego ọ ndị be anyị n'ime obodo ka esi eweta ego aba ji eme ibe niile na-alụ ife dị iche iche ijekwuo n'obodo na communities dị iche iche ya afụkwa ihe mmepe dị iche iche ọ bụ ndị mmadụ tụkara eji wee mee ya ọ biko dabe nwee ntụkwasị obi n'ebe ụka dị na ụka na-ewejeba ka ha na Chineke ba dị n'udo na babisie ndụ n'ụwa fa enwee ndụ abịa ebe ọ bụ ibe ndị be anyị ji maka ya were akụrụba niile na-etinye n'ụka dabe ebe abụrụ ọbụla ebe ọjọọ mana ọ bụrụ na anyị welu kedeli ụfọdụ n'ime ibe anyị na-etinye na ọ bụrụ na anyị nwere ntụkwasị obi na ndị nọ n'ime gọọmenti ụdị echiche a na ụdị omume a ndị be anyị nwe etinye n'imepe obodo etinye n'ilu skuul etinye n'ilu industries etinye n'ilu ebe a ga na-akụziri ndị mmadụ ife mmepụta dị iche iche onwero ihe ga-emekọta ka anyị gbaa asị na ihe gbasara mmepe obodo onye ka anyị na-ekwu okwu ya. That is what we're talking about. You cannot have any government that you desire. You only have government that you demand for. And that is exactly what we are saying. And that is exactly why we are here to organize the people. I've already stated it clearly why things are falling apart. I've mentioned the church just very recently that the church were a very big platform to make these things happen. But unfortunately too, the church is playing on the same part with the politicians. Today, and at the election, when there is an election around the corner, you see these politicians, they become big patrons of the church. That is not bad, but you don't see them speak out for some of the things that is happening in our society. They keep numb. They don't inspire the people to demand for good governance. It is this public sector that should be setting a standard for private sector. But right here, you have the opposite. And that is why corruption will continue to abound. I've said it time and over on this platform that if you allow your schools to fail, the public school, that means the private school will start exploring the people, and that's what we're witnessing. Private schools are very expensive, super expensive, because public schools have failed to a large extent. So everybody's trying to take their children to private school. Taking your children to private school means you have to make much more money. And in the process of making those money, you have to dabble into corrupt practices to shove in some cash, to shove in some more money. And that is why things are falling apart. It is happening in every sector, whether public and private, everybody. Government. Everybody. That is the reason. The same is applicable to medical service. And that is why we are saying that we need to organize ourselves and start making proper demands. I charge church leaders to start making proper demands. And that we go like in your former. And me pussy oh, with him. He will not go. That man will work it. And the time I say, why can I good? Why? Because in our conversation, we told him that we needed good governance, and he made it very clear what he is doing to the Nogo people, for the Nogo. If you're a politician, when you come, Ajuagi, Kedifi me go Obodo. Okay, name Obodo. Our market is falling apart. Go and fix our market for us. Our women, when they are on the market, before that now, on encounter or the wall of our market. On encounter, I say, what you're running borehole. Open and you would each say to a mere, on where Mekata, that, on one of the Nachi, Nada Nobodo. Go Ali, is no one going home and Nobodo, Nobody after the Lotti. Well, you see, government, I will produce a proper demand. At this point, I have a brother already on the studio who is also the anchor of this program that he is going to continue in the piloting of this program. You're welcome, brother.
Yes, good afternoon, good morning, everybody listening. What we're talking about is good governance, as you all know, and we've spoken to a very great extent. I know you know something about good governance. It all starts from one place to the other. They say politics is local, and everything about government is local. I think that's why we are talking about all this, and we have a whole lot of things coming your way today. How does it work? How can we make good governance work in the society? Mostly when the youth is driving it. And we are starting off from here. Remember, you are on to Odenigbo 99.1 FM, and this is Good Governance. Tony Lisambeki has introduced the program as earlier, and we continue from here. At the time, we're going to start talking about other little things. And as we say, politics is local. How do we get government to take a decisive decision, a very decision? How do we demand things from government? I think that's what we're going to be talking about now. How do we make government to do our bidding, since the government is here for the people and not just the people for government?
Okay, it's quite simple. First of all, the people have to be organized. We have different civil society organizations, but so many of them are, well, some of them, I'm not going to say so many of them, some of them might have a reflection of personal interest. That's why so many of them has always fallen apart. And sometimes it's not like they want to fall apart, but because the people are not coming out to ginger them, to give them that full support. When a few people come together to say we want to make a demand on your behalf, and the people is not out there to give them that maximum support, to give them that maximum follow up, you see, the thing will not work out. Now that has resulted in the people giving up on trying to organize, because first, before you can make proper demand, the people have to be organized first, so that you tell government we need this to happen. And that is why I admonish organized pressure groups, organized civil society organizations, even professional bodies like ASU. I heard that someone texted me this morning that part of their demand is that politicians should stop sending their children abroad for education. And somebody sent me that message. It's yet to be verified, because because I was just coming this morning and somebody told me that it's part of their demand. And if ASU is doing that, that means they are listening to what we're saying here. If the politicians start or makes law that, listen, they asked before we are going to resume this work, the ASU people have said you must keep your children to school here in Nigeria, not abroad, as long as you are in government office serving. You know what will happen? They will start fixing the educational system. They wouldn't want the ASU lecturers to go on strike, because it will affect their children. But when their children are abroad studying, it doesn't affect them. That's why they can stay 1 year without education for the people. So these are part of the demands. These are part of the organized process and ways we can get things done. And who will now organize the unorganized professionals, like traders? They have their own union, they have their own trade unions and the rest of them.
Yeah.
Let them start making proper demands through their leadership on what they want. But it's unfortunate. And what we're witnessing today is that government people try to gag all of this, bringing them all under their control. In fact, they go to the extent of even appointing people who should be their executive. They politicize everything. Everybody is looking at government opportunity as a means for personal gratification. Care position or the hand, it doesn't care. But it is the people that we desire first to have good governance, and demand that you don't foster leadership on them, no matter how small it is. No matter, even if it is in your traders, your market line, or your market organization, or your office, or your student unionism. The people that are involved should be the one to bring your leadership who will reflect your aspiration to the government. So that is where we start from. And that is why we are pulling the people together, the masses together, the voiceless people together under People's Restoration Mission, the Good Governance Ministry. And that is why we are hosting this program to educate the people.
That is why you are hosting this program, to educate the people. People don't get the government they deserve, but government they demand.
Of course.
So how can that happen, knowing fully well that government, as you said, tries to gag the people or guard those unions, as you said, unorganized unions or unorganized traders, unorganized organizations.
Yeah.
How can they continue doing this, knowing fully well from what you said that government tries to guard them?
Definitely, government will definitely try to guard them.
How can we come out from this?
The only way is for the people to get the information that they need to pay the sacrifice for good governance. And how do they pay the sacrifice for good governance? And when we are growing up, there are set of children that had a begging. If they come to your house, they are hungry, they've not eaten. But if you offer them food, they will not.
Why?
Because of the information and the upbringing, parental upbringing. You don't receive anything from visitors. You go to somebody's house, tell them even though you're hungry, but you don't collect it. If your parents did not sanction it. Now that is a character. You molded a character in an attitude in that person. But there are children that even if they've eaten everything in their home, if they go to any place, they will even be scrambling for food from other people who have not even eaten. Now, bringing it to the society, we need to understand that hunger is the tool they are using. Poverty, deprivation is the tool they are using to guard the society. Now, it is left for the society to say, no, I'm hungry, yes. But if I pay the sacrifice of not collecting this amount of money from you to vote you in, then I'm in for a good governance. Because this is one of the reasons and how people have sold their right for good governance through selling of their votes. So it starts from there, because that is where you make government. And when the person goes into power, he has already settled you. The mindset of I'm going into power to recoup all the money I spent and make gain, because it is now business for them. And make gain, surplus, and you keep crying. But you've already collected the money. You've already collected your own pay for 4 years, maybe 4,000, 1 year 1,000, every year 1,000 for 4 years. That is all you've sold for your children and yourself. So it starts from proper education. It starts from we understanding the powers we have as a people. That people who are serving in government are supposed to serve for our interests, and because of that, you don't put some kind of price tag for any of your vote or support you give to them. In fact, it is the people that should be bringing money to support their leaders. In Gbebo, on about nekata mmadụ and say nna nwoke eke oke afa anu ọbụkwa na ezigbo mmadụ na ọ ga-eji sitela anyị ife ọfụma eje ya ọbịa biko si ya nna biko bịa kide nọchitela anyị anya anyị na n'ụlọ ọchịchị mana kịta ọ dozie etu a onye si ebe o si onye na-anya na akaụntụ ofe ilo na bilions dị na akaụntụ ya ọ sịgụ na ọ kwalifai gị ebe na ọdọ gọọmenti, and that is where the problem lies.
So that is Ifa Derozi Kodimbo.
Exactly.
Things fall apart and the center cannot hold again, according to Chinua Achebe. Talking about all this and things are going worse than they were before. How can we sustain it? Because there are some persons, like example you gave, they may have been from a very good parentage upbringing and every other thing, and they want to have good governance, good government. How far can they sustain? And they stayed like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, they don't have salary, there's nothing happening, and government is kind of trying to use that very way of trying to gag the media or gag the poor masses in case if it happens. How far can people sustain it? Because that doesn't mean that people do not want to be better or they don't want the best of the government, but there are what they call breaking points.
Yeah.
When people get to their breaking point,
yeah.
For example, you have NSAS protest that has just ended the way it ended. Someone may say that is a kind of an example of breaking point of the people, and things get worse or back to status quo. How can people continue when they get to their breaking point?
No, the truth of the matter is that NSAS as a movement is not a protest, it's an ideology.
Okay.
Yeah. It may start as a protest, but it is a movement with an ideology, driven by ideology. Ideology for good governance. And that is what we're saying. And we've made our list of what we demand as NSAS. It's very clear. We've made it time and over. about what we demand as NSAS, and we'll be saying it here on this platform.
Some say it has ended.
It has not ended. NSAS has not ended. In fact, NSAS went on break to re-strategize, and the people are assimilating. And we are looking at the government to show remorse, or to show that they are committed to what these demands are. They know the demands. They know the people are demanding to end economic hardship and economic restructuring of this country, economic reform. They know that people are demanding for end in the Nigerian constitution. They have to bring an end to the Nigerian constitution and get the people's constitution, because the constitution they are having today is not the people's constitution. That is a military degree. It's a non-fact. That is part of the demand. People are asking for end in fast salaries for politicians. They know these are the demands, but they're not going towards that, and people are waiting. Okay, give us. Okay, today we heard that Nigeria has signed an agreement with Niger Republic to start refining crude oil. Is that not a shame at this point?
But they are neighbors.
They are neighbors.
They are neighbors.
Yes.
So
then what stops you from exporting petroleum products to those places? Nigeria, as large economy as they're supposed to be, what do you think is the problem? Do you think that Nigeria lacks the capacity, or because people are so corrupt? Even individuals in Nigeria, Nigerian citizens, have refineries outside Nigeria. They take this oil at almost no price, even below the average national price or global price, and take it to their personal refineries, and they'll refine it and bring it back to us and sell it to Nigerian people at very heartbreaking price. Every day you see it skyrocketing, and there is no power, there is no electricity. Even if you go out there, probably there is every tendency that this radio station is running on petroleum as we speak. If the cost of production heavily depends on petroleum, the high cost of production will result in what? Price to soar high. That is why things are very expensive. That is why we keep having inflation. That is why the Nigeria Naira is continue to depreciate. No. These are the reasons. Now when you talk about our neighbors and the rest of them, let me give you an instance and why it is heartbreaking to see Nigeria at this place, at this stage. At the time, at 1966 to 1967 to 1970, during the Nigeria Biafra War, the Biafran people at that time, under war situation, we are producing their oil. They're producing their petroleum products. There was no time they had in that history that they lacked petroleum products. They were producing and refining their oil. Now, Nigeria, in the normal democratic setup, this government in place promised Nigerians 4 refineries. Today, none of them is working. Why? Whereas Nigerians are building refineries outside Nigeria.
So what is wrong?
Because many of those people that are building these refineries outside Nigeria, they got those money from some places that they believe if they set it up here, they are going to be asked questions. Because of the impunity and corruption in the system, and their vow to make the lives of average Nigerians miserable. So what we are saying in essence is that it's not that we lack the capacity to change our life for good. It's not that we don't have what it takes to make the people live a better life. But because most of Nigerian people, unfortunately, are praying so hard, fasting and praying, Nigeria. You go to so many churches, Nigeria to get up to today, things continue to get worse. It's not because God is not listening or answering prayers, but because people refuse to demand. That is why we are treating this topic this morning. That the people get the government they demand and not the government they desire. You can desire something, but if you don't add a demand on it and action on it, then nothing will change. Things will continue to go wrong. So the people need to organize themselves and start making proper demands. That's what we're saying.
People need to organize themselves and start making proper demands. How do we start from that? And how do we get to an end that is promising? Remember, you're onto Good Governance on Odenibo 99.1 FM. It is yours sincerely, Buchi MSN Buchi Bengal, and I have with me here the People's Restoration Movement Good Governance Ministry representative in the person of Asuzo Chinedu Peters. He's been talking to us on how to make things work for government and how to governize the people to demand a better Nigeria and a better government. The topic today is a very wonderful one, which I believe when you listen and take something from it, is going to help you. People don't get the government they deserve, but government they demand.
Exactly.
It's a very big topic.
Yes.
How do, like I ask you, how can we sustain it? And you say this, and from that we got a whole lot of things coming out from that, like our oil, because Nigeria is dependent on oil market.
Hugely.
Till tomorrow, we don't know, but today we are sure of that happening. Talking about Nigeria in 1966, and you gave example of Nigeria, Biafran side during the war, refining. There are some persons that are kind of arguing today. There are some kind of refinery in Nigeria what they call bunkering. We might not support it, but there is ingenuity in that informal sector. How can Nigeria come to terms, a common ground between the informal sector in refinery and the country making laws and giving them a kind of a facelift?
Thank God you punctured on that very, very importantly. And recently we've had our pool fire, and where we've seen some Niger Delta people, illegal refineries, and part of the agreement that we've had on the news platforms that government have considered to give individuals the license to refine oil. They call it modular refineries.
Modular.
And up to today, even the two that they've given license, they are not working. What is stopping it?
Why?
That is what you have to ask the government people. Because corruption in the system will not allow it. Because the people that are interested to making sure that Nigeria keeps importing fuel from their refineries, from the oils they've taken out of this country, that is why they make billions. That is how they live lavish lives. That they don't want that thing to come. And I don't know if even if you've stolen the money, why don't you come and establish it here and use it to at least give the people employment? This is sheer wickedness, very, very sheer wickedness and stupidity at large. And at the end of the day, you are creating and bubbling other people's economy while you're draining your own economy. I say to people, especially these people who are listening, who are the bourgeois, this elite class, that you can never be a rich man in a poor country. I say it. You can never be a rich man in a poor country. And that is our position. That if the people can organize themselves, to be honest with you, all this nonsense will stop. It starts from good governance. Everything centers on good governance. That is why PRM, People's Restoration Movement, is here to organize the people and the proper demand for good putting laws in place, like the laws to enforce that every politician, whether appointed or elected in office, must, if you have any child that is under the age of education, must be studying within your state, so that you'll be testing the food you are cooking for the public. The same is applicable to security, the same is applicable to health, the same is applicable to even infrastructural development. All your lives are abroad. You only have one leg here, exploiting the people and dashing to your family outside the country while we are here suffering. No, every one of us will be here. We'll be feeling the heat. If your government is good, all of us will be eating it. If your government is bad, all of us will be enjoying it. So that is the only way we can get these things done.
If the government is good, all of us will be experiencing it. If it is bad, all of us can as well experience it. Like what you said, the children of people traveling abroad, if you are in government, you need to stay back, according to what you say that ASU is demanding from government. All this has been always demanded from government, but why has it not been done? That is the question we need to be asking. It is natural for people to demand such, but how far can we deal with it? the laws and everything to back it up. In case you need to know more, because I know you need to know more, you listening from home, this is about time you ask questions and you input your own. But remember, before you put it up, I would like you to turn down the volume on your radio set, because we want to hear the best of what you want to tell us today. What we're talking about is good governance. Yeah, good governance here and everything that is happening. Call 070-194-78850, or you can as well call 070-381-55515 here on Odinbo 99.1 FM. This is about time you talk to us and we hear from you listening. Remember, what we are discussing today is a topic that concerns people. People don't get the government they desire. They desire, yeah, but government they demand. That is the question. Hello. Good morning. Welcome to Odinbo. Welcome to Good Governance. Hello?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah? 06 09 92 212. Okay, thank you. Okay. So what do you think that makes people to be angry in this light you're talking about? In just 1 minute. Okay. So how can we solve this very issue of disconnect between the government functionaries and the people? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It is nice hearing from you. Thank you. So that we have another caller. Remember, you're on to Good Governance on Odinbo 99.1 FN, and I have Mr. Chinedu Asozo Peters, the person representing People's Restoration Movement, Good Governance Ministry. And we are discussing the topic, people don't get the government they desire, but the government they demand.
Exactly.
Yes, at 070-194-78850 for your contribution to the topic, because we are discussing something that concerns people. Hello? Hello, good morning. Welcome to Denibo. Okay, Olaiwaju, welcome. Can you help me call our DJs? Oh, just call DJ. DJ Double L. Okay, thank you, Mr. Olarewaju, that we need to support the movement to ask the government for the demand which we want. Hello? Hello? Hello, good morning. Welcome to Good Governance on Odinbo 99.1 FM.
Good morning to you, my brother. Good morning to you.
Welcome.
People have been trying to get into in order because when we started because these things are good. We as the source we don't trust for the thing. That's why everything will come up with like what you were up. That is what you have to know how far where the best the angle is coming from also. Let me tell you, when it comes to Nigeria, so that for time like we still continue to do Nigeria has Nigeria.
It's better. It's better.
We are not, my brother, we are not preaching violence. Things have gone beyond that very level. We are not preaching government violence. We are preaching peace. But we need justice as well. I understand you, but we are not preaching that. No, but this is democracy. I would like you to be a little bit civil. Thank you. We are not preaching violence. Please speak to the topic. I understand, but let us be civil in what we're saying. Thank you for your understanding. Hello. Good morning. Welcome to Denibo. Good Governance. Thank you.
Dalo on the.
Okay, welcome. So what do you think we should do now? How do you think we can help this very government, in as much as you feel it hasn't done much to help the situation get better? That is a personal opinion. We do not have fact about that. Okay, to set the record straight. No. But you know there is limit to freedom. There is limit to freedom anywhere, even in US. We are seeing. Okay. But that's what we are doing now. That's freedom of expression. We are doing it here currently. Okay, thank you. Thanks for being here. Peter,
Yeah.
Asuzu, Chinedu, you heard what our people are talking about, freedom of expression. But everywhere you have freedom of expression, because in United States of America, you have limit to what you're going to say, and government will come after you. It is natural. Government put it for the benefit of both the media and the people as well, and the government itself. How can we come? Where do we draw line between the freedom and the impunity?
You see, we are born free. Even God, when creating human, He's made human being free moral agent. You can decide for yourself what to do. But laws are made to, make sure that your freedom do not undermine the freedom of other people.
That is the question.
Exactly. But what we are seeing is people in government are now trying to stampede on the freedom of the people. They stampede on the freedom of the people using that clause that your freedom should not undermine the freedom of other people. The truth of the matter is that everybody has freedom of expression. To express your opinion is not a crime anywhere around the world. It's not a crime. You said, you thought, you perceive, you speak out. It's your opinion, okay? And when it comes to using some kind of derogatory words on individual, trying to undermine their person, trying to ridicule them publicly, which is also against the law. You are infringing on that person's right to live as a free being. You are infringing on that person's right, to of living without being segregated upon. So but that notwithstanding, do not undermine the right of the people to speak and make demand. When we say we need the government to sign into law anti-open grazing bill, does it undermine any person's freedom? No. Some people have come up to say, if we infringe on the right of the cattle railers from going about carrying their businesses. That is lie. Because there are ways of doing the same business. We call ranching. We say, put this law in place. Our homeland, even before this democratic dispensation, our forefathers made this law. That you don't go about carrying cattle, going to people's land, destroying people's farmland. So your freedom to do business will now undermine my freedom to be a farmer and cultivate and harvest my fruits, the fruits of my labor.
So how do we understand each other? Because that's different.
The understanding everything. The bottom line of this whole thing, the bottom line is who is in charge of making political decisions.
Now, who is in charge?
Everything revolves around it.
Who is in charge of making political decisions? You know, we have individual differences.
Yes.
And if you're a leader, you come with your difference. How can your difference influence my own difference? Now, I do not understand this. Or how can you sell that your idea that is so wonderful and it's going to help me and our people to me?
I like that because you spoke from the mindset of an average Nigerian politician. That is the kind of things that echo from their heads and from their mouth. They will say, Obonisi, even no overall sense, clear sense on Obona. Obonisi, or it doesn't matter what your opinions are. Obonisi, because of that, you know, or stampede the girl if I game. In fact, all my effect all my label the two they pinch the go on eat the shoe. You know, that is the problem. Now you have to understand that these people in government are public servants. Imam Potama boy Yakogia. Imam Potama the cost of working. Now we will go from taxpayers' money. And yet the person will tell you that your opinion doesn't count.
How do you convince them?
You don't need to convince them. You make the demand. You don't need to convince the governor to sign anti-open grazing bill into law. It is our right. It's our custom and tradition. They know that. You don't need to convince them. You demand for it. And the only way we can change that is that we organize ourselves. It begins with who do you allow to go into public space. That is where it starts from. The people must ensure that never do wells do not occupy a position of authority. They will definitely come around. All people in our Balafamba election, all people in our Torofa posters. In fact, it is high time we start boycotting their political activities and campaign. It is high time we start boycotting it. And demand for good governance. I said, when a government, if the traditional rulers take this into account, that any person that comes to your community to campaign for any election, join ya, Kedifo Megolo Obodo, Osinia. Let's say, for instance, you are from a particular community. How have you impacted in your immediate community? Obono into government before. How have you impacted in the communities that covers your constituency? That is where that is the problem of our society.
That is the problem of our society. Once you are coming for any elective position that you need to be asked, what have you done? Kedifi Megolunde Mado, according to Asuzo Peter Chinedu, the representative of People's Restoration Ministry, the Good Governance Ministry. I want you to call this very number. In case you're just joining us, know that we are discussing something that concerns you, the government, and every other thing. That people do not get the government they desire, but government they demand. 070-194-78850 as well. Call 070-381-55515. Make your contributions civil because we are on radio. Hello? Call me back. Hello? Good morning. Welcome to Denimo. Okay, your contributions. Okay, okay. I think. Okay, I think you start coming back home. We've got your contribution, and he's gonna answer you. Thank you.
All right, my brother, let me tell you something that no matter what your aspiration is or demand is, it all boils down on who is in charge to make the political decision. That is it. And politics is all about who gets what, where, and when. And that is why, before you can get any good governance, before you can get anything, you must be in the authority. You must be in the position to make that decision. You must have that political will to make that decision and stand on it. And reflect. Let your decisions reflect on the aspiration of the people. And the only way that can happen is when the people organize and from among them raise a leader. Leaders, I imagine, but you know what? The people reject them because they don't have money to spend.
What can you do if you are rejected? Because how far, according to him, how far can you sustain? How far if they come after you in case?
The point is that people pay sacrifices, people are paying sacrifice, and people will still continue to pay sacrifices for good governance. Anywhere around the world, the system is the same. Our own cannot be different. We have to start now. No matter the sacrifice we are paying, we have paid, and will continue to pay. We'll continue to sustain this as long as it takes. Sometimes it takes centuries, but eventually you have the kind of society that your generations after you will say, you made this happen. So I think the people should now start rallying around the People's Restoration Movement. You can call 0810-420-7522 or you call 08060982212. The anchor of the program can still recall it for you to get the nitty-gritty of this. And don't forget that Good Government Ministry continues on BVI Channel 1 on the social media platform. Check it anywhere, you will get all the information. I still remain Suchile Peters. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. You at home, you can call this very number for more inquiry and to know more about People's Restoration Movement, the Good Governance Ministry. 081 042 07522 or as well 080 609 82212. Thank you for listening. Makes a return next Monday, same time, same station. Thank you for listening. Your boy Gucci MSN. Thanks.